I'm Nikki Hardeman, and I'm glad you're joining us for Study at Faith Element. I'm here to provide you with some background information on your biblical passage for today. The text for this week is Psalm 23, and it's classified as an individual psalm of thanksgiving. The 23rd Psalm is familiar to most people. Even people who don't practice Judaism or Christianity can likely quote some or all of the psalm because it so frequently shows up in our culture. Lines from the psalm are often used in popular music and film, and almost always, whether it's in film or a religious setting, this particular hymn is used to bring about comfort in times of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. Most scholars believe that this psalm is connected to the one immediately preceding it. Psalm 22 is classified as a personal lament, but it doesn't follow the typical structure of such a psalm. Most laments follow a particular pattern in which the psalmist first offers a lament or a complaint. Then he'll make a petition of some kind to God. Next, the psalmist will offer words of trust, and finally, words of praise. Psalm 22 is a painful lament, and it begins with those most agonizing words that Jesus prays from the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me?" This psalm seems to be missing the words of trust in the last half of the psalm. It moves straight from words of petition to words of praise. And many think that Psalm 23 are the missing words of trust in that psalm, or that it was placed after Psalm 22 in order to become the words of trust for that lament. Psalm 23 proclaims that ultimately God is present. God is present in both the good times and the bad times of life. And when we consider this psalm in light of the 22nd psalm, there's a new understanding of the deep trust that is confessed in this familiar and comforting hymn. We live in such an anxiety and fear-driven world that it's often difficult for us to point to how God is present in our lives. Confessing our belief that God is present can often be more of a stubborn claim of faith than our actual experience. However, it is at those moments that we struggle to sense God's presence the most that we need to be reminded of it. That's why we so often hear this psalm used in times of trouble and grief. God never promised that life would be easy, fair, or without trouble. However, God has always promised to be with us and present in our lives. This psalm reminds us that through the whole journey of our life, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly, the certain and the uncertain, the ecstasy and the agony, that God is always present. And in that promise, we can take courage to wake to each new day with the hope that we are always dwelling with God and God with us.